Hi, this is Kevin for Pixavert.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create this desktop design with the little Bokeh hearts floating around. We'll get started first of all by creating the Bokeh brush. So I'm just created a document. It's at least 500 square. It's actually 1280 by 720, but it has to be at least 500 pixels square. And I'm just going to unlock the layer, Control A to select everything, and delete to delete, Control D to deselect. The next thing I'm going to do is to go to the custom shape tool, and one of the custom shapes is a heart. And what I'm going to do is to make sure that the foreground color is black. I'm just going to draw a heart shape, holding down Shift to make sure that the heart remains in proportion. And then once we've got a shape about 500 pixels wide, I'm going to let go. Next thing I'm going to do is to right click and rasterize the layer, reduce the fill to 50%, leave the opacity at 100%. Next I'm going to double click to bring up the layer style, and I'm going to go to stroke, and the stroke needs to be fairly large. It needs to be around 25. We'll choose inside as the position, and make sure you're using black, and we're going to keep that at 100% black. We're going to hit OK, and that's our Bokeh brush. Now if you control click on the layer, you can go to image, crop, deselect, Control D, edit, define brush preset, and what I'm going to call this is a Bokeh heart design shape, and hit OK. And we can actually get rid of that now. I'm going to create a new document which is going to be 1280 by 720, or whatever the size of your screen is, and I'm going to hit OK. And again I'm going to unlock it. The next thing I'm going to do is to create a background. So I'm going to actually create a radial gradient. I'm going to double click, I'm going to choose gradient overlay, and I'm going to choose radial as the style. Next I'm just going to go into the gradients, create a light blue gradient for the left hand side, and a dark blue gradient for the right hand side. Desaturate it a bit. I'm going to hit OK, and I'm now going to scale up to about 140%, and I'm going to hit OK. The next thing I'm going to do is to create a new layer, and this layer will fill with a gradient again. I'm going to go to the gradient tool. Now what I've done here is just basically created a very bright, colorful, highly saturated gradient, and I'm going to draw, and I created that gradient actually by going to the swatches, and if you bring up a gradient, what you can do is just create a node and then select the color from one of your swatches. And what I'm going to do now is, using the gradient tool, I'm just going to draw a gradient across like that. And you can do whatever you want. You can put this on luminosity, you can put it on color. I'm going to put it on soft light. Next, in between those two layers, I'm going to create a new layer. And we'll go to the brush tool and choose the heart shape that we just created. And the next thing you want to do is to make sure the opacity is on 100%, and you can reduce the size of the brush. For this particular effect I'm going to choose a very small brush, maybe a bit larger than that. And I'm going to Control Z and make sure that the foreground color is white. And I'm just going to increase the size of this thing a bit. So I'm just going to dab here and there, and once I get tired of that I'm going to go to the brush presets, and in the brush tip shape I'm going to increase the spacing, maybe to around 300 or 400%. Then in the scattering, I'm going to go and increase the scattering to around 700 or 800%, and that allows me to drag across the screen, and it will randomly place the hearts. And I can do that a couple of times. The next thing I'm going to do is to go to Filters, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and give this a blur of 3 pixels. I'm now going to create a new layer, and again just scatter a few hearts. And again, give this a blur, maybe 1.5. I'm going to create a third layer, and again just scatter a few hearts there, maybe increase the brush size just a little bit. And this layer I'm going to give a blur of just 0.2 and create a fourth layer, and here maybe go again to the brush tip shape or the shape dynamics and apply a size jitter, maybe of 50%. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to drag across the image, keeping to a sort of central area so that we've got a nice design. And that's it. We're not going to give that a blur. Next, what I'm going to do is to go to the furthermost layer and give that an opacity of 50%. Then just increase the percentages as you go up the layer stack. So here I'm going to choose maybe 80%. You can reduce the opacity of the top layer, of the color layer, and I think it looks quite good. Looks quite good with zero opacity. 80%, 40%. We'll keep it at 40%. And I'm just going to increase the size. And there's our finished product. So I hope you enjoyed that and found that useful. If you did, please comment, rate, subscribe. There are free Bokeh brushes for download on the website. Thanks for watching.